And I asked repeatedly, am I going to walk and be able to do life again?
The right elbow is broken in 5 places. The right ankle and heel are broken. Left femur broken above the kneecap. Neck, C4, C6, and C7 are fractured. There's a concussion. There's bleeding on the brain, but it had stopped. And there's a cut over the left eye. At one point, there was a brace on every extremity. This wrist, this elbow, this knee, this ankle, neck brace, and then cuts.
We got on scene, we saw your mom's vehicle. Your mom was still sitting in the driver's seat, but she was kind of hanging over the console into the floorboard of the passenger seat. I stopped and I looked at my partner, and we both thought she had already passed, and that she didn't look like she could have survived the wreck.
I was actually in the dentist chair, and I'd silenced my phone, got my voicemail, and it was a state trooper. And he just said that he'd like to talk to me about my wife's car accident. And I thought he was talking about one that happened a few months ago in a parking lot.
She was a deep, deep purple. Her hands and her face, the way she was slumped over, she was kind of asphyxiating. She was kind of like choking and suffocating because of the way she was laying in the vehicle. We felt for her pulse. She groaned when we moved her a little bit, so we extricated her with the fire department and some police help.
He says, "You don't know anything about this?" I said, "No, I know nothing. Start talking." I told him like 3 times, "Start talking."
We got her onto a backboard, onto the cot, got her to the truck, started taking care of her, got lines started.
I asked him who pulled out in front of her, if they were drunk or if they were elderly, and he just kind of sighed over the phone. He says, "No," he says, "he's a young driver." What the young man did was someone had blocked his view, so a black SUV in the median. He was going to turn left across Pilsett Parkway. He decided to chance it. That's what he told the trooper. And when he did, we pulled out there, your mom was right there.
She swerved to miss him, and he clipped her, and she flipped.
He was surprised that anyone would have survived it.
When she had the accident, she was actually had a flat heart rate for a while, and anybody in that concept usually doesn't make it through.
They were putting her in the ambulance. He had told the paramedics that, well, he has something he has to take care of, but he'll be there just as soon as possible. And they told him, well, don't worry, we don't think she's going to make it. We're having to breathe for her right now.
How long did you say her heart rate?
We've been told for 30 minutes, and that's a lot for anybody who even survive after that.
I just remember knowing I had to be at a bank at 11. The next thing I know, I'm in the emergency room. I knew something had really happened bad.
When I showed up, the first thing your mom said was, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Totally wasn't her fault at all.
We found out she was still alive and upstairs, so we went upstairs and saw her. We met your dad, and your dad took a picture of all 3 of us.
When you talk to her, you can see her understanding to you, not this. You can see that you are talking to someone with a barrier between you and her. She's not getting anything you say. Comprehension-wise, it's too much was going on, too much input, and you think her mind was overloaded with every aspect of what we're saying, what we're doing, her limitations.
Mainly, I was just glad that she was alive, really. It didn't hit me when I saw her the way that I think it would hit people who were older. because people who are older, they know what being laid up like that means.
So at one point, I knew I needed to find her phone. There's always the dreaded clear plastic bag that has all of her effects in it. The one thing it was missing was her phone, and I knew I didn't have all of her contacts. And so I used Find My to figure out where it is, and sure enough, it's at the tow company's lot. So I go there, tell them who I am, they tell me where the car is, and the car is a mess. I found her phone. It was face down in a pool of blood. And I remember, picking it up, and I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't have anything to clean it off with. There's nothing there. There's no facilities, no place, no access to a bathroom or anything. I did call from there on the site, from the tow truck company, called Dina. Quickest way to get a hold of her was FaceTime. I'll never be able to erase the memory of seeing Dina on the screen through a film of blood. The only way that the car crash could have been worse if it just took her life. That's the only way it could have been any worse. I remember asking different medical staff, how long do you think it'll be before, she's back up, walking again? None of them could give me a number.
Did you think that she would be able to walk again?
No, that way. When she came to our center, we know that patient most likely vegetative, not gonna move at all. We're not gonna function anymore because how long being out of oxygen supplies for that long, the brain not gonna be functioning regardless of the muscle working or not.
About 2 a.m. she would wake up and she says, I gotta go. We need to leave. And I'd have to tell her again, she's been in a bad car crash. You are not weight bearing on your legs yet. It's gonna be a while.
I stressed I did not want any opiates, anything that would be habit forming. When I come through all this and go home, I still want to be the mom that you had. I did not want to have a dependency on something.
We saw that her balance was not even achieved. She could even sit up straight. We didn't know how much she able to understand us or not, or even carry information. So we started from the beginning.
I don't remember just crying, saying, God, why'd you do this to me? I was just thanking him that I was still here for you and your dad.
Her motive was amazing. The motive for her, not because I want to back to work, want to be, looks pretty, whatever, as others will do. No, her goal is to be a good mom for her son and a wife for her husband that they deserve. Not about me as a person, it's about others that I'm serving. That's what's striking me funny about her. I want to be what they deserve to be, have a mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? That itself, a drive, make you do the best you can for that patient. Although you do it for everybody, but it give you more intense. I need to really think what else I can do better, make her advance even more further.
2 surgeries took place the day of the wreck and the day after the wreck. The first one being my left femur and the second one being my elbow. I had to wait several weeks before I could have my ankle surgery.
That's the ankle.
Our body in a very big harmony. For example, I'm gonna close my eyes, okay? Here I'm almost hit my mouth, I'm in mid-range, I'm outer range. I'm fast, I'm slow, I'm almost gonna hit the field but stop. How I know that? Because my body, my brain have mechanoreceptors and interpret the movement. When I have an injury like your mom had, that's almost gone.
Once I came home, I had PT and OT come here. Having to ask someone to put me on a bedpan, that was very humbling. You could have someone as young as you, John, that I could have been his mother, asking him to help me in such a personal way. And I can just remember feeling, am I ever going to be able to not have to sit in a wheelchair or be in a hospital bed?
Any pain have two sides, emotional and physical, right? Somatic and emotional pain. And you have to be with them both. Otherwise you lose your client, basically. You lose ability to connect with them. When you see your achievement in video clip during the session, a controlled environment like here, you know you have potential. I did that. Oh, I'm hurting now, but in the morning I did that. I can do it.
They would make videos for me, and I would watch them on how to transfer from my wheelchair to the hospital bed, how I can slide from that couch to the wheelchair.
When you have a deficit in your function, you have to see it to be able to know what's missing and fix it. 12 and center dial, 11 and center. See how much this ankle deviated, moved a lot. 10 and then back, 9 without swinging. So I have to be here holding her waistline and her hips. She can more focus on only the glute muscles, not the whole trunk swinging. That's a hard task, but it's achieved. I mean, it's good to do that. Like that, or switch legs and let him accept the weight with that leg and take it away.
They wanted me to practice to be able to get in our car. We got in. I knew I was getting close to being right here.
You can see every day something changing in her performance every day because she had the strive to get better and do well. And she would never say, I'm tired, I can't get, and what else we can do? I mean, it's how she is. Some patient will take your word and work with it harder at home, some patient would not at all. And one achieve goals, one would not. And then when we started to see the outcomes, it was really very amazing. And she would sit back, look, I can walk.
All right, so let's go ahead and stand you up. There you go. We're gonna walk. All right, so the brake is on, they're locked. So those handles, you gotta squeeze them. There you go, now it's unlocked, and so now it'll move. There you go. Almost there.
And these are my first steps. And she says, you're walking again. I can remember feeling I was so blessed to have my arm around you in this picture, standing on your 16th birthday.
If you want to do it, we'll make it happen, for sure. No limit for your ability to do what you want to do. Everything you think is can't now, it can be done if you have the motive enough.
This child drew this to you, Miss Pamela. For I am the Lord, your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. Isaiah 41:13. My new life verse, which I shared, is Isaiah 41:10. And both of these verses talk about the Lord holding you with his righteous right hand and to not fear, and that he will be with you.
A couple of years later, I believe it was, the nurse came up and said, hey, there's a woman here looking for you. There's a woman, she wants to talk to you, you know. And I was like, what woman? From the nurse's desk, I walked around the corner to the long hallway, and your mom had come from the other nurse's desk and rounded that corner. And I knew right then that was your mom. And I started crying, and I went straight up to her and I hugged her, because she still had a limp, but I was just amazed at the fact that she could still walk and she was alive and looked good.
Being pain-free is a joke. Nobody been free. I'm not been free. But there's certain amount of pain that you can deal with or not.
When I was going to my trauma surgeon, she said, you've put 10 years worth of arthritis on your body. And some days it's very painful. I cannot run. I don't have a good side of my body to fall on. With all that, yes, I'm compromised, but I have the joy of the Lord in my heart because he spared my life. I'm here for a reason, and I have a purpose. And I'm doing life with you, John, and with your daddy.
You cannot be comfortable. You cannot be comfortable. Even if you are healthy, you cannot. You have to move on and do something better. Strive.
We are on a timeline of life where we have fewer days ahead of us than we have behind us. So what are we going to do with them? No matter what infirmity you may have, no matter what issues you may have in life, what can you do to help others with what you've learned?